So first things first, I just want to preface by saying that when I'm going to read YouTube questions, for usernames, I'm just going to read out what it said on my computer. Like the tag the comments section lists for your username may not be exactly the same as your actual username. I think they'll all be close, and they'll just add like a couple numbers, but we'll see. Anyway, as always, I'll start with the spoiler questions that I can't answer, then I'll move on to the things I can answer. So first of all, Springtrap 2023 asks, is Deathstroke gone for good, or will he come back? And I'm going to answer with the standard answer. You'll have to wait and see. And the same answer is going to apply to Xander Kingsley's questions. First, will Damian Wayne become Batman in the future of your DC universe? And does Damian have a sister that he doesn't know about? You have to wait and see. DC Master Fan asks, will Bruce Wayne return from the dead? And will Darkseid return? You'll have to wait and see. And I hope I'm saying this right. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, are you going to do the Reach? I mean, the Blue Scarab had to come from somewhere. You'll have to wait and see. Liam Martin, 1838 is the number it gives me at the end, asks, who did Nightwing leave to protect Bloodhaven? You will see. There actually is someone. Springtrap 2023 asks, does Robin go back to the Bat family? Same answer. You'll have to wait. Springtrap 2023 asks, will Jinx and Cyborg get together and get married? I'm just curious, want to know your thoughts. You'll have to see. Jeremy Jones 101 asks, what happened to Deathstroke and will he return? You'll have to see. Emily Kane asks, are Firestar and Saturn Girl a thing now? You'll have to see. Aaron Berkeley, will Tim Drake become Red Robin? You'll have to see. Aaron Berkeley, will Damian Wayne become Batman in the future? You'll have to see. John Smith 12101 asks, which Spartan army won the war? You'll see in the future. Actually, in the next series, you'll see that. Emily Kane asks, if Nyssa Ratko was lesbian before she died, was she in love with someone? Maybe. DC Masterfan asks, do you have plans for Supergirl, Superboy, Connor Kent, Brainiac, and John Kent? 2 of those 4, yes. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, will you do a project with The Flash because he has a whole mythos to use for a series? And what would be the lineup for the Rogues? Yes, there will be a Flash project. As for the Rogues, I don't want to spoil it, but you've already met a few of his villains in the past, like Captain Cold, Grodd, Captain Boomerang, and Shade. They'd all be back. Plus, I already have all the other villains ready, like I have their minifigures made up. Carla Quinn 1014 asks, if you plan to continue the Batman series, which villains will you introduce other than Magpie? Will you introduce villains like Catman, She-Bat, Deacon Blackfire, or do anything with the Wonderland Gang or the Court of Owls? So, I'll say that I don't plan to include the Court of Owls, as I've never really liked them, and they also wouldn't fit in this universe. But there is a decent lineup of new villains who I don't want to spoil. Outlaw Lego Studios 426 says, I'm pretty sure most of these questions have already been asked and answered, but I'll shoot for it anyway. Will Bruce come back to life? Is Jason as Joker going to be a reincarnation of pure evil, or is he going to be a version of Joker with more humanity, or maybe a different path? Will Robin go back to the Bat family for a while? Will more Bat family members become Batman villains like Jason? Then asked more questions. How old is Damian right now? I feel like every one of the Titans, including Rose, is like 6 or 7 years older than him. If Damian doesn't become Batman, will he at least grow tall enough to where he could? Poor Damian and his stunted growth. So yeah, for the first questions, I can't answer them due to spoilers, but I can answer the last 2. Damian is 15 at the moment. Since the first half of Beginnings was about a year and a half, then there was 7 years, like the 7-year gap. Then the second half of Beginnings was also about a year and a half. Then the Batman series took place over about 2 years. Then Teen Titans also took place over like 2.5 years. And come on, cut him some slack on his growth. He's getting there. He'll get taller. He's just... poor guy. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, why did Starfire leave the Titans? So she left to try and redeem herself, as she personally feels like she's unworthy of being in the Teen Titans after killing Simon. She thinks that she dishonored everyone else and currently thinks she's a liability. John Jefferson 01, why did the Justice League in your DC universe disband? So the catalyst was their disagreement over whether or not to allow Dick Grayson to join the League, but there had been a lot of resentment building between them all for a long time. Green Arrow had a bit of an inferiority complex, in the sense that because he didn't have powers, he wondered if he should even be there. You could see that when Batman quit the League and Arrow came at him for it. Wonder Woman, meanwhile, never knew anything but the League, as she'd never operated solo before. Aquaman always felt guilty for being there and not in Atlantis. Hal Jordan had been meaning to leave for quite some time, as he'd grown frustrated with not being listened to by Superman. It was a lot of things that needed to be properly addressed, and I hope to show these characters finding the healing they needed all along. Outlaw Lego Studios 426 asks, what was the point of Rose telling Raven that Robin used to like her? I'm just curious because to my recollection that moment didn't have any significance between Robin and Raven's relationship in the rest of the season. So it was mostly just to show a sense of self-awareness from Rose, and to act as a means of weirding Raven out. But it kind of helped them bond, that honesty from Rose. At least in my opinion. Aaron Berkeley asks, why did Batman have 3 Robins at the same time? So, I've mentioned this in the past, and it's because Bruce felt so crappy about having lost Dick that he tried to surround himself with Robins so that if one of them leaves, he wouldn't have to deal with the sudden jolt to being alone again. When Jason went through his, stuff, it still didn't help, did it? So, it didn't really do what he had hoped. I hope I'm saying this right. David Barraquette asks, how come no Lanterns stopped HyperClan from getting to Earth? So HyperClan made their way to Earth in disguise, so that way the Lanterns wouldn't know they were white Martians. Besides, the Lanterns are kind of going through some stuff at the moment, which I'll show you someday. Necromage843 says, Onomatopoeia's shtick is that he targets non-superpowered vigilantes, heroes like Green Arrow and Batman, out of a deep-seated jealousy stemming from his own failure. However, this raises an important question. Why would he go after Cyborg? Although Cyborg was born a normal human, his cybernetic enhancements elevate him far beyond typical human limits. In terms of capabilities, he's functionally on par with metahumans. So what exactly would provoke Onomatopoeia's jealousy in this case? And if he does consider Cyborg a valid target, despite his enhanced nature, doesn't that blur the line between non-superpowered and superpowered heroes? If that's the case, why doesn't Onomatopoeia extend his vendetta to fully superpowered individuals as well, given how little difference there is between them and someone like Cyborg? So, Onomatopoeia hates Cyborg because he views him as having been basically given hero status just because his father gave him cybernetic implants. So, it's a slightly different reason, but the line is definitely blurred for him, I'll give you that. If he had successfully killed Cyborg, he might have felt emboldened enough to expand to killing superpowered heroes as well. So, he might have targeted Superman eventually. And then, oh man, this username got really butchered. User-1N1NH3NH6T asks, why is Rose not mentally stable? So, the torture she endured at the hands of Deathstroke during training really did a number on her psychologically, and when he died, whatever stability was left just completely snapped. That's really what broke her. Mama Lucia 0609 asks, does Rose know Damian's real name since she's seen him out of costume? I couldn't help but notice that he always refers to her by name while she always calls him either Robin or Love. By the way, is that a reference to how Talia calls Batman beloved? She does know his name is Damian, but she sees him as Robin. And yes, that is indeed a Talia reference. Emily Kane asks, are Harley and Ivy a thing in your DC universe? Well, they're friends with benefits. Jeremy Jones 101 asks, was Ra's al Ghul destroying all the Lazarus pits? Yes, to try and maintain control over who has access to them. TML03 asks, how long was it until the League of Assassins found Ra's al Ghul after he fell into the lava pit? So, Ra's went through quite a bit after he fell into that lava pit. It was 2 years that he was just missing, and it would normally be impossible for someone to survive that long with those kinds of burns. But there's a big chunk of Ra's story that's currently been left to mystery, and I'll show what happened there someday. Mama Lucia 0609 says, when Wintergreen says Slade was always good to him and earned his respect, is that referencing their time in the military in the comics? If not, could you elaborate on the relationship? I want to know why Wintergreen was so loyal. But yes, it is exactly that, the military service. The two of them went through a lot, and Wintergreen really came to respect him. Tampiku says, I feel as if Starfire only liked Simon because of his appearance whenever he was a normal person. Is this true? If not, I'm lost on this one. Yes, it's entirely because of his appearance. You're 100% correct. TML03 asks, what happened to Query, Echo, and the Kabuki twins following Riddler and Penguin's deaths? Similarly, what happened to the Joker's gang after his possible death? They're also alive. They're a mixture of locked up and at large, depending on who it is. Xander Kingsley 51 asks, are Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon a couple in your DC universe? So they used to flirt a lot, but at the moment they're just friends. Jaden Barraquette, are there 2 Barraquettes or am I crazy? Asks, how many Earth Lanterns are there? So I've introduced 3 up to this point, but they aren't all on Earth at the moment. Diana Pierce 1341 asks, does Bruce Wayne have a cousin named Kate Kane in your DC universe? Yes, he does. Emily Kane asks, did Firestar and Saturn Girl flirt in the season 4 finale? They seemed kind of attracted. Yes, they did flirt. A lot of people seem to catch that, so you guys are pretty good at catching things, aren't you? Emily Kane said, you mentioned Lena Luthor is lesbian in the 2023 Q&A. If she is, then who is she dating? At the moment, no one. Diana Pierce 1341 asks, is Miss Martian related to Martian Manhunter in your DC universe? No, they're a different race of Martians, like Miss Martian's a white Martian and Jean's a green Martian. Necromage843 asks, did Onomatopoeia ever plan to go on a hunt for non-superpowered supervillains as well eventually? No, because they never got praise like Heroes did. That's what he hated, that he never got praised. It was all about that for him. Xander Kingsley 51 asks, are Damian and Rose a couple in your DC universe? Yes, they are. A very strange couple. Jonathan Smythe 101 asks, was Lady Shiva friends with Talia and her sister Nyssa? Yes, as close to friends as you could achieve with someone like Lady Shiva. Emily Kane asks, did Catwoman have romantic feelings for Batman, and did she tell him that she loved him before he died? She did have romantic feelings for him, but she never told him she loved him. Adds an extra bit of tragedy, doesn't it? Emily Kane asks, will Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy return? Yes, all 3 of them will. DC Master Fan asks, when was Damian Wayne born in your DC universe? It was about 7 months after Bruce left the League of Assassins. Diana Pierce 1341 asks, are there many more of your characters in the LGBT spectrum? So there are quite a few who you haven't met yet, like more than you have met. But so far you've only met Wonder Woman, Aqualad, Harley, Ivy, Catwoman, Lena Luthor, Nyssa Ratko, Joker, Tim Drake, Death, Firestar, and Saturn Girl. Necromage843 says, for each Titan, who would be their foe they personally hate and detest the most? So I had to think about this one a little bit, but some of them are pretty obvious. Robin's is Deathstroke, Raven's is Trigon, Starfire's is Simon, Cyborg's is Onomatopoeia, Blue Beetle's is Vandal Savage, and Beast Boy is the one I struggled with, but I ended up landing on Brother Blood because ultimately he was the one who was constantly targeting Raven, and Beast Boy was super protective of her. So Beast Boy really hated Brother Blood the most. Liam Martin, 1838, says, in the flashbacks in Hush Hush, who are all the people attending Tommy Elliott's father's funeral? So they're younger versions of Lucius Fox, Gerard Stevens, Jim Gordon, and Sal Maroni, who is there to try and curry favor with the cops and Gotham's elite by appearing at the funeral. Infinitus Prime asks, are Speedy and Cheshire a couple in your DC universe? Not outright, but they could very easily become one given how close they've gotten. Justice Beyond 101 asks, who brought Batman to the Batcave after his fight with Mr. Freeze in the Batman Beginnings episode Snowstorm? Talia. Talia did. Batman mentions it in the episode Gotham's Liberation. TML03 asks, what states are the fictional DC cities in your universe in? Obviously San Francisco is in Cali. I'm referring to cities such as Gotham, Metropolis, Central City, etc. So Gotham is in New Jersey, and so is Bloodhaven. Metropolis is in Delaware. Central City is in Missouri, like right on the border of Kansas, and Keystone is also like just barely in Kansas. The 2 cities are pretty close by. Fawcett City is in Wisconsin. Ivy Town is in Connecticut. Coast City is in California, and Star City is also in California. Scott Giles Pollock asks, will the Titans return? Yes, eventually. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, will we ever see Beast Boy again? Not in the flesh, but maybe when he's dead. So I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll just say that it's likely you'll see him again somehow. Won't say how. Jonathan Smythe 101 asks, who is Mumbo Jumbo and how did you make him? He's a Teen Titans 2003 villain. He was an old man who could transform into a magic user called Mumbo Jumbo, or the Amazing Mumbo. He was really goofy in the show, so I had to find some way to make him fit the tone of everything else. I think I figured him out. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, how did you make a custom Simon minifigure? I used the Indiana Jones torso. I used a custom Taskmaster's head and a brain piece from an alien bug queen. And then just, I think it was normal black legs. Jaden Barraquette asks, where did you get that custom Kid Flash? Minifigure Outlet is the website. Scott Giles Pollock asks, how did you make custom Black Beetle, Mumbo Jumbo, and Trigon minifigures? So Black Beetle had a Darth Nihilus head, a custom bulletproof vest over a black torso, and the orange wings painted partially black to try and give it like a certain off feeling. Mumbo was a normal magician outfit with a black cape and a red cape both on, and I painted a version of the Lego Joker head from the Lego Batman movie. Trigon was a Green Goblin Big Fig painted black, red, and yellow. Richard Drummond asks, how did you make a custom Black Beetle? And like I mentioned, the Darth Nihilus head, the wings, and the custom bulletproof vest. Justice Beyond 101 asks, how did I make the custom Trigon minifig? The Green Goblin Big Fig. Scott Giles Pollock asks, how did you make a giant Mumbo Jumbo figure? So it took about several hours to make that. So I started by gathering the colors I'd need. I keep my pieces sorted into bins based on color. I started with the head. After that, I figured out the legs and body, and that was it. Liam Martin, 1838, asks, will you ever explore what happened in the 7-year gap between Batman Beginnings Outspoken and Angel of Death? I always could do that, but I don't have that planned. I guess it's nice to know that I always could go back and do that if I wanted. Blake Gorman 2007 asks, will you do a Lego Teen Titans Go series? I don't plan to do Teen Titans Go. The Invincible Captain AJ asks, will Nightwing return? Can you make Teen Titans Season 6? Can you make a Justice League series? And will there be a Batman Season 5? So I have plans for a Justice League series and Batman Season 5, and I do intend to have a second season of Nightwing that takes place right after the first one ended and goes until he leaves to return to Gotham, but I don't have plans for Teen Titans Season 6. Liam Martin, 1838, asks, will there be a Nightwing Season 2? I plan for there to be. Francis Drake, X4C, says, I remember you mentioned that chronologically Dr. Fate was the first hero in your universe, so will there be any flashbacks or a full-on miniseries about his exploits? So not to spoil what's to come, but if you want to see more of Dr. Fate in the future, I think you'll be happy. Okay. Jonathan Smythe 101 asks, do you have plans for a Damian and his mother Talia miniseries that takes place before Damian met his father? I hadn't intended on it. Maybe I'll show flashbacks in the future between them. Springtrap 2023 asks, would you do a Young Justice series? I know that I could go back and do a series that takes place while they were all still alive, but I don't think that's in the books. The Invincible Captain AJ asks, can you make a Superman series? Yes, I can, and I will. DC Master Fan asks, do you have plans for a Dark Knight Metal brick film adaptation? I do not. Tampiku asks, is Starfire going to have her own series? I think there's a lot of potential in that. So, I don't plan for her to have her own series, but the next place where she shows up may surprise you. Justice Beyond 101 asks, what will you do now that your Teen Titans series is over? The next DC series is already fully animated. I'm just gathering lines for it. And I suppose I can tell people now. The next series is Wonder Woman, and it's 3 seasons. But the wait between each will be significantly less this time, since the whole series is pretty much done. Aside from that, I'm just gathering lines for the last 2 Adventurers chapters. Jordan-KV4UI asks, who are all the villains in the intro, and what is your next DC project? Can't wait to see the rest of your universe unfold. Thank you. So I had to really look at that intro again, because it's been a while, right? And they're all silhouettes, so... but I think I managed to figure them all out. So Trigon, Deathstroke, Brother Blood, General Immortus, Jinx, The Brain, Kitten, Vandal Savage in his armor and cape, Ra's al Ghul, Blackfire, Terra, Black Manta, Onomatopoeia, Sportsmaster, Black Beetle, Cheshire, a weird silhouette of Monsieur Mala, Madame Rouge, Charaxes, Captain Cold, Cinderblock, the Scion Commander, Wintergreen, Gunhawk, and Father Blood. And, the next DC project, Wonder Woman. Ken Extreme 9718 asks what series is up next. Wonder Woman. Metatrix-QZ30L. What's next for the DC Universe? Wonder Woman. Red Raptor 2003 asks, what will the next story arc be? Wonder Woman. Jacoby Hubbard 5530. What's your next series? Flash, Justice League, or are you returning to Gotham? It's Wonder Woman. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, do you have plans for a Marvel brick film? Not anymore. I used to have plans for a Spider-Man series, but I scrapped it. John Jefferson 01 asks, do you have plans for a Lego Spider-Man brick film? I used to, but not anymore. J. Ian Clemeg, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. Says, I know about your canceled Spider-Man series. Is it possible that it could get revived one day? There's a 5% chance. And then J. Ian Clemig also asked, did you have plans for the Fantastic Four, Mary Jane Watson, Gwen Stacy, Aunt May, and the Avengers for your Spider-Man series before it got canceled? I wouldn't say I had plans, but I definitely intended for all of them to show up. And then J. Ian Clemig also asks, who is going to be Spider-Man's love interest, Mary Jane Watson or Gwen Stacy? It was going to be Gwen first, then MJ. Jaden Barraquette asks, if you started a Marvel stop-motion universe, who would you give the first show? It'd be Spider-Man, since it's the one I know the most about. Star Superion 101 asks, do you have plans for a Lego Star Wars brick film? I used to have plans to animate the expanded universe timeline, like the pre-Disney timeline, but I got overwhelmed and I lost passion for it. Either way, I still keep collecting characters for some reason. Justice Beyond 101 asks, do you have plans for other brick film themes such as Star Wars, Marvel, Ninjago, or others? So I had plans for Star Wars in a Spider-Man series, but they're scrapped. I also scrapped a Bionicle series where I'd adapt the books and lore. However, I have not scrapped the LEGO Agents idea, and I do still plan to do it someday. Springtrap 2023 asks, do you think of doing something different like a zombie movie, Star Wars, etc.? I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to do a story with my own characters, but I just don't have time. I have too much on my list anyway with DC, Adventurers, Pirates, and Agents. Like I mentioned, I used to have plans for Star Wars, but it got overwhelming and the passion kind of faded. Peter Porter01 asks, do you have plans for a brick film based on other LEGO themes? Agents is something I haven't started yet, but I have collected all the sets. And for a while, I'll admit, I was considering doing like a Knight's Kingdom, like the generation with like Jaco, Raskus, Santas, and Danju. And I did start collecting the sets, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it because of how much I have on my plate. Justice Beyond 101 asks, will LEGO Adventurers continue? Yes, it's entirely filmed, just waiting on lines now. John Jefferson 01 asks, will Pirates and LEGO Adventurers continue? Yes. Peter Porter 01 asks, will LEGO Adventurers and your DC series continue? Yes to both. Springtrap 2023 asks, how long until the next LEGO Adventurers with Johnny Thunder will be ready? I'm hoping this year. It depends on how fast I can cast these people and gather all the lines, you know? Malutin Stankovic 4638 asks, when is Pirates coming? I don't know. I'm sorry. I haven't made any progress on it since the last Q&A because of everything I've had going on, but I am still set on it happening. It will happen. Infinitus Prime asks, do you have plans for a new brick film that will come out soon? I mean, Wonder Woman is in the stage where I'm receiving lines, and same with the 2 final chapters of Adventurers, so hopefully. Justice Beyond 101 asks, why did you kill off Bruce Wayne, Beast Boy, and so many other characters? Very important question. So with Batman, I felt that it would make for a nice symbolic ending to the series, and he did properly train Dick enough that he would be as ready as he can be. Plus, I wanted to maintain the momentum Bane had going for him. I kind of liked that Bruce Wayne was never actually able to beat him. It really made Bane more menacing. As for Beast Boy, his death was planned since when I was writing the first season. At first I thought I'd put it at the end of the series, but after thinking about it more, I realized what a crazy move it would be to kill him off at the start of the final season. Like, instantly sets the tone and forces every character close to him to go through their own grieving arc. With the other characters, it's that I felt that either their time was done in regards to what they could do in the grand scheme of things, or in some cases, like Sportsmaster, it felt thematically fitting, like him sacrificing himself for the daughter he abandoned. And after Artemis's death, Cheshire is even more wary of him, so I thought it would be the perfect way for him to genuinely apologize for everything to his one surviving daughter. User -ON1NH3NH6T, I'm sorry, friend, asks, why did you kill Beast Boy off? I killed him to raise the stakes, in a nutshell. If it helps, his death was planned from pretty much the beginning of the series. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, why did you kill off Artemis and Miss Martian? Now who will be with Superboy? I actually don't have plans to include Superboy. There just isn't a way to fit him into the plot I have in mind, like the big picture. As for Artemis and Miss Martian, I just felt it was their time. Justice Beyond 101 asks, why didn't Firestar return in Season 5? I have different plans for her. Regular J Studios asks, why did you decide to kill off almost every single Young Justice member? So I can't say too much without spoiling the future, but what I'll say is that their deaths won't have been for nothing. Artemis's death in particular has a certain ripple effect. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, in your Teen Titans series, why didn't you use characters like Dr. Light, Control Freak, Private Hive, Mad Mod, Wonder Girl, etc.? I did use Private Hive in Season 3, and with Wonder Girl I have other plans. As for the others you mentioned, I felt that Mad Mod and Control Freak would clash tonally too much with the series, and with Dr. Light, I just don't find light to be the easiest thing to simulate in when I'm animating. That's why. How it's either Mile N. Daniel or Milen Daniel asks, how come you waited to introduce the Titans? I thought it would make more sense thematically to have them form in the aftermath of the Justice League splitting up. And they also ask, how come Robin is the only established hero? You could have added someone like Wallace West, Emiko Queen, or Aqualad, since I like it when you have more than one competent kid hero. That's why I like the new Teen Titans lineup with the show team and Wally and Donna. I wanted Robin to have to learn humility. Like, yeah, he's the most experienced of them, and he has an ego about it at first, but he has to learn that it doesn't automatically make him better than the others. And they also ask, how come you didn't use Donna or Cass, since they have both been in versions of the Titans? I have different plans for both of them. Liam Martin, 1838, asks, why did Bullock not appear in Warriors of the Night? So, at the time, I didn't think he needed a send-off beyond being okay with briefly working with Batman in the previous episode, but it really upset some people. Don't worry, he'll be back. Justice Beyond 101 asks, who are Argent, Rima, Mammon, and Mumbo Jumbo? So Argent is a minor Teen Titan who doesn't really get a lot of attention, but I really liked her vibe in the 2003 series, so I wanted to use her. Rima, also called Rima the Jungle Girl, is an older superhero in regards to when she was created. She's a mute girl living in the Amazon and protects it from loggers and poachers. Mammon is a Zatanna villain I wanted to use, and Mumbo, well, I've gone into who Mumbo is. Peter Porter01 asks who are Swagman, Hirotaka, and Bushido. So Swagman's a minor Batman villain from Australia. He was usually part of a group, but I needed a villain who operated in Oceania for the episode where I introduced Argent, so Swagman fit the bill. Bushido is a lesser-known Teen Titan from Japan. He appeared briefly in the 2003 series, but it was only in like 2 episodes, I think. Hirotaka is an original character. I needed a Tengu, and I was quite pleased with the design I gave him, so I just gave him the name Hirotaka. Jonathan Smythe 101 asks, who is Puppet King? He's also a Teen Titans villain who first appeared in the 2003 series. So he was like a living puppet who could use black magic. I originally hadn't intended to use him, but people wanted him, so I wrote him in, and I think the results were interesting. John Smith 12101 asks, who are the Almighty? I created them so as to give General Immortus an organization, as the alternative was just him drifting his way along, and I felt that was too similar to Vandal Savage. And John Smith 12101 also asks, who are Mantis and Agrius? They're 2 original characters I came up with, one a warlord and one a Spartan commander. Peter Porter 01 asks, who is Sabiar? Sabyar is also an original character I created to act as Ra's al Ghul's second-in-command and a rival of Bruce's. TML03 asks, where does Rick Crocker come from? Is he from the comics or is he an OC? He's another OC. I originally created him as a red herring for Onomatopoeia, and also because there needed to be a police chief. In the Season 3 finale, his character just started to grow further beyond the typical untrustworthy cop, and I actually really liked the way he turned out. Nemesis Primal 1368 asks, are Crazy and Jester original characters from you? Yes, they are. TML03 asks, will Max Eckhart appear again? Because I want to see him finally get some karma. Yes, Eckhart will be back. Francis Drake-X4C says, this is a bit of a stretch, but will Resurrection Man ever appear in this universe? He has an honestly really cool power and isn't discussed much. After his second solo series in 2012 ended, he flew under the radar until 2021, and that was just a cameo, and this year he finally has a comic again. I haven't planned for him to appear, but we'll see. Emily Kane asks, do female heroes such as Black Canary, Hawkgirl, Vixen, and Huntress exist in your DC universe? And if so, why didn't any of them appear in your previous DC Brick films? Yes, all of them exist. The reason they haven't appeared is because for some of them, they just haven't been around, and for others, they haven't gone through their full origin story yet. Emily Kane also asks, do you have plans for Batwoman, Renee Montoya, Black Canary, Hawkgirl, and Cassandra Cain? Yes to all. DC Master Fan asks, do you have plans for Batwoman, Renee Montoya, The Question, Huntress, Cassandra Cain, Black Canary, Vixen, Hawkgirl, and Batman Beyond? Yes. Diana Pierce, 1341, asks, do Stephanie Brown, Black Canary, Hawkgirl, Nubia, and Vixen exist in your DC universe? 4 of those 5 do. You guys really want Black Canary, Hawkgirl, and Nubia, and Vixen, and you guys really want this group, don't you? Justice Beyond 101 asks, does Cassandra Cain exist in your DC universe? She was mentioned in an episode of Teen Titans Season 5. Yes, she does exist. Jaden Baraket asks, do Donna Troy, Cassie Sandsmark, and Tempest exist? Donna and Cassie do. Kevin Kent01 asks, do Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and other Superman-related characters exist in your DC universe? Yes. Kevin Kent01 also asks, do you have plans for Superman? I certainly do. I'm actually filming the Superman series right now. And then Kevin Kent01 also asks, do you have plans for Livewire and John Kent? I have plans for Livewire. I find her quite fun to write, actually. Liam Martin, 1838, asks, will Hugo Strange appear in your Superman series since he moved to Metropolis? So, Strange will be referenced in it, but he won't actually appear in the series. There's a reason for that, and I don't want to spoil it. Kaiju Incredible Y2J asks, when will Supergirl come into the universe in the Superman series? Liam Martin, 1838, asks, in Robin's Nest, it's mentioned that Batman went to help Superman fight Metallo. Will this be explored in the future? And it'll be referenced but not shown. Pulse XP-Y08WU has a few questions. First, will we see what Dick Grayson and Tim Drake have been up to as Batman and Robin? Yes, you will. Second, will we see what the members of the Justice League, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, etc. have been up to? Yes. And will we see Damian Wayne grow older and grow taller? Yes, poor Damian. DC Master Fan asks, do you have plans for Orion, Big Barda, Mr. Miracle, and the New Gods of New Genesis and Apocalypse? Yes. I've actually just been filming that stuff that involves them. I'm looking at their minifigures right now. Francis Drake-X4C asks, will we ever see the rest of the League's origins? I assume they will be shared in your Justice League show, but still. Yes, you will. Nemesis Primal 1368 says, for an anniversary, would you ever remake the first episode of The Adventures of Batman and Robin to show how far you've come? I want to dub the whole first season because I have a hard time watching it aside from the last 2 episodes, but the issue is that I just don't have the time to do it. Maybe someday. Springtrap 2023 asks, will we ever see the Teen Titans again in the future? Yes, you will. Outlaw Lego Studios 426 says, if the Teen Titans series is over, will we see the team in your other series in the future? Yes. Outlaw Lego Studios 426 also asks, do you have any plans for the continuation of each Titan's individual stories? For example, Raven ended up completely alone, Starfire left the team, Cyborg and Jinx obviously have issues to work out, Robin seems to not be too happy with Rose by his side, Blue Beetle practically has lost his entire family, and the team in general has lost many members. I feel like there's still more of each Titan's story to tell. Is that the case? I'll say this much. Their story is not over, but I want to point out, Robin and Rose are okay. Damian just never really seems happy. That's just who he is. He's glad to have Rose alive and safe. Mama Lucia 0609 says, this may sound silly, but will the Titans appear again in your future projects? Yes, they will. Diana Pierce 1341 says, do you know Helena Wayne, and if so, do you have plans for her? She is the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle from Earth 2, who becomes the vigilante known as Huntress. I kind of consider her as Damian's female counterpart. I know of her, but I don't have plans for her. Liam Martin 1838 says, in Teen Titans Season 1, it's mentioned that the Justice League fought Almighty once. Will this be explored in the future? Kind of. Diana Pierce 1341 asks, will Firestar and Saturn return? Yes. Regular J Studios asks, will you ever do a Crisis on Infinite Earths adaptation or multiverse type of story? Me personally, as much as I love the original Crisis story in Grasso Guy's Brick film, I'm just tired and sick of multiverse storylines. They're getting too overused. So I don't have plans for an actual multiverse crossover because I also find it exhausting how much they're being done. I'll have a few characters from other worlds, but I'm not going to have anything like Crisis or Spider-Verse. Xander Kingsley 51 says, do you have plans for a multiverse story? Not exactly. There are a few characters from other dimensions who appear every once in a while, but nothing as extreme as a Crisis story. Francis Drake-X4C asks, will there be any multiverse stuff happening? Not really. Jaden Barraquette asks, does your Flash have a Team Flash from the CW or a comic Team Flash of Barry, Wally, and Iris West? At the moment, it's just him and occasionally Wally. Mama Lucia 0609 asks, will Kid Flash get a happy ending in the future? He deserves it. You've been very mean to him this season. I know, he had a rough time, but don't worry, Wally has good things coming. Liam Martin 1838 asks, in Batman Season 3, it's mentioned that Dollmaker was active in Bloodhaven. Would this be explored in a potential Nightwing Season 2? Haven't said this since the beginning of the video, but you'll have to wait and see. Liam Martin 1838 asks, will Mario Falcone return? Yes. Liam Martin 1838 asks, will Sophia Falcone appear? In some form, yes. Brick Asylum Studios asks, Roxy Rocket or Farmer Brown in the future? I hadn't planned on including either of them, but I have always really liked Roxy. I don't know, tell me below, do you want Roxy Rocket? Francis Drake-X4C asks, will Black Mask ever come back? His death was very ambiguous, and honestly, he felt very underutilized. Also, will other superheroes like Ted Kord, Swamp Thing, or John Constantine show up in this universe? I don't want to say too much about Black Mask, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll answer your second question, kind of. 2 of the 3 you mentioned will show up. Mama Lucia 0609 asks, in regards to the 3 elemental demons of water, earth, and air, are those going to be original characters? Because I've been looking stuff up and I can't find any who'd fit. So, they're not original characters, but think about it from the sense of, rather than just being purely elemental, where these beings come from. Like, what kind of enemy comes from the air? What kind of enemy comes from the earth? What kind of enemy comes from the water? And I'm not talking like average villains that could come from those places. Like, what big DC threats are loosely or directly associated with those things, depending on which element? Tampiku asks, what gave you the idea of including Argent in the series? I just always thought she was really cool in the 2003 show and never got enough credit, so thought I'd do my part to give her a bit of a showcase. Nemesis Primal 1368 asks, how do you decide who will be the main villain of each season for your DC series? So I look at which characters I want to have as a main villain at some point, and I try to craft a plot around that. If it fits in with the character arcs I want the heroes to go through, then I go with it. Regular J Studios asks, what inspires you to write your own stories and scripts? I don't know how to explain it. I just get this creative itch, like this need to create. I get inspiration from all kinds of things, to be honest. Regular J Studios asks, how did you come up with the cool idea of Hush being the one responsible for the Wayne's deaths? I tried to think of a way that would make things personal for Bruce. As for Tommy, it was already personal, but having Hush be behind the Waynes felt like a logical step to making things even more heated between them. Mama Lucia 0609 asks, how did you come up with the relationship, can it be called that at this point, between Damian and Rose? It's my favorite pairing in this series, I admit, but I find it a bit strange at first, since there's kind of a big age gap between them in the comics. It was honestly something that just kind of developed as I was writing that episode. I was trying to get into Rose's head and just determine how her deranged mind works, and somehow I ended up with that. Their age gap isn't too bad here, at least. I think I headcanoned Rose at like 2 years older than Damian. And then Milan Daniel asks, if you had to make a different lineup for the Titans, what would it be with characters you have not used? Well, I guess Dick Grayson, Superboy, Cole, Gnark, Tracy 13, and Grace Choi. But I guess Dick is kind of busy right now. Brick Asylum Studios says, no White Raven? I thought it would be too on the nose, to be honest. Regular J Studios asks, how many frames per second do you use? It varies between 6 and 12. Tampiku asks, were there any characters that you considered for Teen Titans that were written off later on? Not really. Like, the closest I got to that was when I debated on whether or not to include Billy Numerous. On the one hand, I wanted to, but on the other, it would cost so much money to build that many Billy figures. Springtrap 2023 asks, do you regret missing some villains and heroes out of your Teen Titans series? Yeah, I would have liked to include Mirage, Wildebeest, Billy Numerous, Black Alice, Sun Girl, Osiris, Zookeeper, Johnny Rancid, Overload, and Cross Christina, but it was quite full as it was. Nemesis Primal 1368 asks, are there any characters that you regret killing off? Sometimes I wish I still had Penguin, Riddler, and Freeze, but that's more just because they're so fun to write. I still think that narratively their deaths were for the better. I've also gone on record saying that I wish I'd kept Malcolm Merlin alive, but after thinking more about it lately, I think it's okay. I have a lot of characters I can still work with, and if I ever want to, I can always go back and do something with Merlin, like earlier in the timeline. Francis Drake-X4C asks, I know you said that there are characters you wish you didn't kill off, but are there any characters that you wish you did kill off? No, actually. See, I'm not that bloodthirsty, guys. Regular J Studios asks, will you ever do a behind-the-scenes type video? I hadn't planned on it. Like, do you guys want that? Francis Drake-X4C asks, how long do you think until you're done with everything? I honestly don't know. Could be a long time. Jonathan Smythe 101 asks, do you have Instagram? Only a personal Instagram that I use to follow dog accounts. Aaron Berkeley also asks if I have Instagram, and just the personal one. Springtrap 2023 asks, if you didn't kill off Chief Crocker, would he become the next mayor? Probably either him or Rodney Sullivan, the city councilman, but now that Crocker's dead. Springtrap 2023 also asks, do you regret killing off Beast Boy, Miss Martian, and Artemis? Not yet, anyway. It's all part of a big picture. Brick Asylum Studios asks, do you watch Grasso Guy's DC series, and does he watch yours as well? We've each watched some of the other stuff for sure. Springtrap 2023 asks, how can I get in one of your videos, like as a voice actor? Well, if you have a voice reel and you think you're a good actor, send it my way and I'll see if your voice matches any of my characters that I haven't used yet. Peter Porter01 asks, can you make more Brick films more often? I'm trying, but I work and I'm kind of at the mercy of voice actors. Mind you, I will say, since recasting one of my longtime actors, turnaround is looking to be a lot quicker going forward, so I will be at the very least, yes, be able to make more often. Jaden Barakat asks, what advice do you have for people who want to start their own fan-made DC universe? Patience is the biggest thing. Plan out your story long-term. Like, really try to earn the audience's interest in the characters before you start doing crazy things. Like, for example, if you do a Batman series, don't make Nightfall the second episode. Let people get to know Batman first before you break him. Basically, don't do anything that the DCEU did. Francis Drake-X4C asks, what is your favorite character that you have an original story for? God, I can't choose between 3 characters. Kid Wicked, Onomatopoeia, and Mumbo Jumbo. Like, I don't know. I can't pick between those 3. Brick Asylum Studios asks, what villains are you the most proud of in the Batman series and Teen Titans series? Which one overall are you proud of the most? Ah, man. So, the list would be Onomatopoeia, Bane, Kid Wicked, Vandal Savage, Two-Face, Trigon, and Hush in regards to who I'm the most proud of. But in regards to, like, most proud, I'd say it's probably Trigon, because I put a lot of thought into crafting his backstory. I tried to mix lore from the comics, from the 2003 series, and some of my own stuff, and I think I ended up making him quite menacing. Brick Asylum Studios asks, what's your favorite season of LEGO Teen Titans? Season 5, it just really spoke to me. Tampiku asks, which episode out of the entire Teen Titans series did you enjoy writing and filming the most? Either Wicked Nightmares or Bride of Blood. There was just something really exciting about both of them. I don't know. Necromage843 asks, what are your top 3 favorite episodes of your Teen Titans? It's tough, but I think Wicked Nightmares, The Beginning of the End, and A Matter of Time are my 3 favorites. Springtrap 2023 asks, which episode is your favorite so far? I think Wicked Nightmares. Francis Drake-X4C asks, in your opinion, top 5 or 10 satisfying villain deaths and defeats in your universe? I'll do 6. Kid Wicked, Alberto Falcone, Onomatopoeia, Trigon, Bane, and Simon. Necromage843 asks, if you could, would there be anything that you would change or rewrite about your Teen Titans series across all 5 seasons? Maybe just make the relationship situations between Robin and Raven and Cyborg and Jinx more clear. Necromage843 asks, who are your top 5 Teen Titans villains from your series? I really like how I wrote Trigon, Deathstroke, Onomatopoeia, Vandal Savage, and Kid Wicked. Necromage843 asks, who would you consider the top 5 most evil characters in your Teen Titans series? God, there were some really evil characters, so this is not easy. But I guess the 5 most evil would debatably be Trigon, Simon, Onomatopoeia, The Brain, and Brother Blood. But honorable mentions include Mammon, the Scion Commander, and Mumbo Jumbo. KSS Studios 3791 asks a few questions. Will Starfire come back to the Teen Titans? For that, you'll have to see, but she has some other things she has to do anyway. Will there be a Season 6? I don't intend for there to be a Season 6. Will there be a funeral for the heroes that died? Yeah, there will. And what will happen next? And, well, Wonder Woman. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on James Gunn's upcoming Superman movie? I wish him luck, but I don't know if I'm curious enough to actually watch it. DC's just been so disappointing for so long now that I've basically checked out. But like from what I've seen, all the casting is perfect. And I will admit, like, they actually seem to be trying with this one, like in regards to marketing. Like, you know, like I've been seeing like the Superman Blizzard at Dairy Queen, he's been on like popcorn bags at like movie theaters. Like, you know, like they actually are trying to push this one, which is crazy because like most of the time I have no idea when a DC movie is coming out. But the thing is, like, the fact that this isn't just Superman in it, that like there are all these other heroes, makes me kind of nervous that they're doing a Batman v Superman again and rushing things. Brick Asylum Studios asks thoughts on the new DCU reboot. Again, I wish them luck, but I'm wary. I'm glad they abandoned the DC Extended Universe because it was terrible ever since Batman v Superman. Like, let's be real. I mean, they were like some like decent like outings every once in a while, but like overall it was like really like marred by the whole beginning. And the casting was another mess. They kept bringing in problematic people. Like, guys, chill. Peter Porter 01 asked, are you excited for the new Fantastic Four movie and James Gunn's Superman movie? Sorry, not really. Jaden Barakat asks if you could pitch one character's show in James Gunn's DCU, what would you do? I think it'd be cool to, if he did like a Zatanna series. Like, I think that'd be pretty cool. We haven't seen that before, really. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on the Batman 2022 universe? I think it's very well done. I still prefer the Nolan movies, but I'd say this comes second in regards to live-action Batman. Sorry, Keaton. I just think it's really well thought out. TML03 asks thoughts on the Penguin series. Again, I think it's very well done. Like, much better executed than Joker 2, anyway. I mean, like, it's funny because it's like you're watching this show and like Penguin's the protagonist, but it's like, and like you root for him, but then it's like, oh yeah, he's evil. Like this is still the freaking Penguin. Like, so it's cool that they didn't try to like change him into like a good guy or anything like that. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on Warner Brothers rejecting another Batman Beyond film made by the same people who worked on the Spider-Verse movies? I think it's for the best. Like, Batman Beyond's always been kind of dark, and the Spider-Verse movies really aren't that. So, like, I don't know. DC Master Fan asks, what did you think of Batman Caped Crusader and My Adventures with Superman? Now, I haven't seen either, but they both look interesting. I find myself especially intrigued by My Adventures with Superman, but I wish they'd gone with better designs for Livewire and Heatwave, at least when they're fighting anyway. Like, they could have done what DC Superhero Girls did and had Livewire like have to power up and go all electric when she's about to fight, but keep her looking normal otherwise. Francis Drake-X4C asks, have you seen Batman Caped Crusader? If so, what did you think? In my opinion, it's pretty good, but isn't as high tier as the older Batman shows. I haven't seen it. I think it looks interesting. It's just that I haven't gotten around to it. Justice Beyond 101 asks, what did you think of Batman Caped Crusader? If you watched it, I haven't watched it. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on the Batman 2004, Batman the Brave and the Bold 2008, Beware the Batman 2013, and Batman Caped Crusader 2024? So again, I haven't seen Caped Crusader, but I've seen all the others. Beware the Batman is incredible. It's a shame they never used the major villains in that, but I think they would have eventually. Like, they'd introduced Two-Face right before the show got canceled, and Katana was a lot of fun. The Batman 2004 I also really like. I actually grew up with that show along with the old animated series. Like, I'd come home from school and watch it. With that said, I do think it really improved after Season 2. I think Season 4 was its strongest, but Season 3 was my second favorite. Batgirl was, like, hilarious in it. As for Brave and the Bold, I didn't like it. I know what it was trying to do, but it replaced the Batman and I was annoyed. Like, just everything about it annoyed me. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on Superman the Animated Series? I think it's great. Not on the same level as Batman, but it still did a very good job of showing what Superman deals with. John Jefferson01 asks, what did you think of Batman Beyond, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited? I loved them all. Justice League and Unlimited might be even better than Batman the Animated Series, in my opinion. Brick Asylum Studios asks, what do you think of the Injustice series? I'll be honest, I'm not really a fan of it, but it's an interesting concept. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, what are your favorite Batman animated movies, top 5 or 10? I'll do top 5 for this. Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood, Assault on Arkham, Year One, and Batman vs. Dracula. Peter Porter01 asks, what are your favorite Superman animated films, top 3 or 5? I'll give you 3. Superman vs. the Elite, Public Enemies, and Superman Doomsday. Peter Porter01 also asks, what are your favorite DC animated movies, I guess just in general, top 5 or 10? I think my top 10 were Mask of the Phantasm, Wonder Woman, Under the Red Hood, Superman vs. the Elite, Batman Year One, Assault on Arkham, Batman vs. Dracula, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, Green Lantern First Flight, and Mystery of the Batwoman. John Jefferson01 asks, what are your favorite Justice League animated movies, top 3 or 5? And to be honest, of the ones I've seen, the only ones I've liked are Doom, The New Frontier, and Flashpoint Paradox. Regular J Studios asks, what's your favorite JLA story? For me personally, it's a tie between New Frontier, Crisis on Two Earths, and Tower of Babel. I don't know if it counts, but for me, Blackest Night. Like, it does involve everyone, right? Francis Drake-X4C asks, what do you think of the Absolute Universe? And it's an interesting concept, but I haven't looked into it too much, I'll admit. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, what are your favorite Batman comics, top 3, 5, or 10? At the moment, I think it's Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Killing Joke, Year One, and Nightfall. Mile N. Daniel asks, what are your top 5 comic books? Well, again, it's Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Killing Joke, Year One, and Nightfall. Regular J Studios asks, what's your favorite Green Lantern? For me, it's Kyle Rayner. If we're talking Earth Lanterns, I'd say probably Jon Stewart. Regular J Studios asks, who's your favorite Flash? Wally West. Then Milan Daniel, I think it's Milan Daniel, asks, who's your fave Lantern and Flash? Jon Stewart and Wally West. DC Master Fan asks, who is your favorite female villain from DC? Poison Ivy, but Killer Frost is a close second. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, who are your favorite Batman villains, top 5 or 10? So it often changes, but at the moment it's Joker, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Penguin, Clayface, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, and Harley. DC Master Fan asks, who's your favorite Batman villain? Joker. Regular J Studios says, rank every single Robin from least favorite to favorite. So least favorite. Okay, sorry, but Jason Todd, Carrie Kelly, Damian Wayne, Stephanie Brown, Tim Drake, and then Dick Grayson is my favorite. Diana Pierce 1341 asks, do you consider Catwoman as Batman's true love interest? Well, it's difficult because Batman's had quite a few serious love interests over the years, like Catwoman, Talia, Julie Madison, Vicky Vale, Lois Lane, Wonder Woman, Zatanna. Notice I didn't mention Batgirl, but I guess Catwoman is probably the closest that we would get to someone who truly belongs with him, I'd say. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, who are your favorite female characters from DC and Marvel, top 5 or 10? Okay, so from Marvel, it's Gwen Stacy, Black Cat, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Thundra, Peggy Carter, America Chavez, Scarlet Witch, and White Tiger. From DC, it's Poison Ivy, Supergirl, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, Power Girl, Black Canary, Killer Frost, Stargirl, Katana, and Harley. Timothy McIntosh 1 also asks, who is your favorite Superman villain, Wonder Woman villain, Flash villain, Green Lantern villain, Aquaman villain, Martian Manhunter villain, Fantastic Four villain, and Avengers villain? So my answers are probably not going to be very, they're going to be pretty basic, but they're honest. With Superman, it's Lex. Wonder Woman, it's Cheetah. Flash, it's Captain Cold. Green Lantern, it's Atrocitus. Aquaman, it's Black Manta. Martian Manhunter, it's Malefic. Fantastic Four, it's Doctor Doom. Avengers, it's Thanos. Again, they're basic, I know, but they're honest. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, do you like Marvel? Kind of. Mr. Marvelous 101 also asks, who is your favorite Marvel hero and villain? Spider-Man and Green Goblin. I know, again, a basic answer, but it's honest. Regular J Studios asks, what are your top 5 favorite X-Men characters? And what are your top 5 favorite Teen Titans and Spider-Man villains? Okay, so for X-Men, I'd say it's Juggernaut, Rogue, Beast, Pyro, and Shadowcat. For Teen Titans villains, it's Trigon, Deathstroke, the Brain, if we can count him, Cinderblock, and Kitten. For Spider-Man villains, it's Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Scorpion, Rhino, and Mysterio. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, who are your favorite Spider-Man villains, top 5 or 10? My top 5 are Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Scorpion, Rhino, and Mysterio. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, what are your favorite MCU and non-MCU movies, top 3, 5, or 10? So by non-MCU, you're still talking Marvel, right? So for MCU, I guess it's No Way Home, Infinity War, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and the first Captain America movie. For non-MCU, it's Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, then the original Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. As you can tell, I haven't seen that many non-MCU Marvel movies. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, what are your favorite animated movies, top 3 or 5? If we're still talking Marvel, I've only seen Ultimate Avengers, which, yeah, it was pretty good. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, what did you think of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, X-Men 97, The Spectacular Spider-Man, X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men the Animated Series from the 90s, Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s, What If, and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? Well, of those, I've only seen Wolverine and the X-Men, the 90s X-Men series, and the 90s Spider-Man series, and I think they're all good, but, and I know this is a controversial take, I actually liked Wolverine and the X-Men better than the 90s X-Men. I found it more interesting. But what I've seen of X-Men 97 and Spectacular Spider-Man looks cool. Like, I know I should at least watch Spectacular Spider-Man someday. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, what are your favorite Spider-Man, Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four comics? And I'll be honest, I haven't read any Marvel comics, and I think you're starting to see why I didn't do a Spider-Man series. I just don't know enough about Marvel. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, who do you think is the best love interest for Spider-Man, Mary Jane Watson or Gwen Stacy? I think Mary Jane, but only because I think Gwen has evolved past the love interest role, and she's kind of got her own things that she can do now, you know? Mr. Marvelous 101 also asks, if you would make your own lineup of the Avengers and the Sinister Six, who would you choose? I don't know about the Avengers, because I kind of feel like they've gotten almost everyone now, but for the Sinister Six, I'd choose Doc Ock, Scorpion, Vulture, Rhino, Mysterio, and Shocker. Aaron Berkeley asks, would you like to see the 90s Spider-Man animated show, The Spectacular Spider-Man, and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes get revived like X-Men 97? I only know about the 90s Spider-Man show, and, well, sure, I mean, we never actually did see if Peter and Madam Web recovered Mary Jane, so it might as well tie up loose ends. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on RDJ coming back as Doctor Doom? Me personally, it screams desperation, and thoughts on the Avengers movies Doomsday and Secret Wars being delayed to December of 2026 and 2027. Me personally, I think it was a good decision on their part. Yeah, I think I think RDJ as Doctor Doom is desperation, and it's also just a bad idea. Marvel has always had problems with their villains in the MCU. Yeah, they had Thanos, Loki, and arguably Red Skull and Mysterio, but how many villains in the MCU have actually stuck with people? So now they have Doctor Doom, and what do? Instead of building on him as a character, they turn him into a gimmick for Robert Downey Jr. But I think it is a good thing they delayed their movies, because I don't think there's much interest in the MCU at the moment after Phase 4, and they really need more time to regain that. Mr. Marvelous 101 asks, what do you think of Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the MCU as Doctor Doom? I think it's desperate. Aaron Berkeley asks, what did you think of Daredevil Born Again if you watched it? I haven't watched it, but I heard that it does a really good job at condemning a certain type of fan, and I think that's kind of funny. Timothy McIntosh 1 asks, what are your favorite Spider-Man comics and animated movies, top 3 or 5? And again, I haven't seen or read any. J. Ian Clemig asks, who do you think is the best Spider-Man, Peter Parker or Miles Morales? And this is just a personal thing. Peter's always been my Spider-Man. And it's kind of going to influence this next question too. J. Ian Clemig asks, who do you think is the best Captain America, Steve Rogers or Sam Wilson? For me, I like Steve, but Sam is still good. It ultimately depends on the version. And then J. Ian Clemig asks, who do you think is the best, Ant-Man, Hank Pym, or Scott Lang? For me, it's Hank. J. Ian Clemig asks, who do you think is the best Wasp, Janet Van Dyne or her daughter Hope? And I think Hope. J. Ian Clemig asks, what did you think of Invincible if you watched the series? I have not seen it. Super Shadow Beyond 21 asks, what did you think of the Sonic movies if you watched them? I haven't seen them. Liam Martin, 1838, asks, are you a fan of the TV show Dexter? I've not seen it, but I've heard good things about it, except for the ending, which I don't know. But I've seen shows where I like the ending that everyone else hated, like Lost. I liked the ending of Lost, but I understand why other people didn't. So I don't know, maybe I'll give Dexter a try. And then Infinitus Prime asks 2 questions. First, who is your fave Transformers villain? I'm afraid I don't know enough about Transformers. And then the second question is, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Yes, indeed, I have heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, Infinitus Prime. Then Beyondimus Prime, we have another Prime, asks some more Transformers questions that I cannot answer because I don't know enough about Transformers, and I'm sorry. Aaron Berkeley asks, do you like Star Wars? Is there anything from the Disney Star Wars canon you'd like to consider canon to the expanded universe? I guess I like Star Wars. I used to love it before Disney bought it. I know so much about the expanded universe. As for the canon, yeah, there are some things. Cad Bane belongs in both timelines, as does Ahsoka. I had canon Clone Wars Season 7 as being part of the EU still, along with Sabe's backstory, so, there are some good things they've done. I haven't seen Andor, but everyone seems to like it. Star Superior 101 asks, is there anything you like about the new Star Wars canon owned by Disney? It is admittedly better with representation and diversity than the old timeline was, like I'll say that. And I wish the old timeline had been more open with that kind of thing. I guess it was just a sign of the times, right? They still managed to work in like a few characters and people of color, but I'll admit Disney is doing better with it. Starshield121 says, if you made your own Star Wars headcanon, would you mix the expanded universe and canon together? And again, there are some things about the canon that I actually do think is good, like Sabe's backstory in Clone Wars Season 7, so I try to headcanon that into the old timeline. Starshield121 also asks, are there any Star Wars characters you'd like to see return? For me, I'd love to see Mara Jade, Starkiller, and characters from the Old Republic game return and be canon. I mean, Thrawn, Pelion, Rook, and some other Legends characters returned. For me, I think Darth Zana would be cool. Darth Bane's apprentice, she's pretty, because she was awesome. Starshield121 also asks, what did you think of Star Wars Rebels, the 2003 Clone Wars series, Clone Wars Season 7, The Bad Batch show, Rogue One, The Andor show, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, and Tales of the Underworld? So, of what you've listed, I've only seen Clone Wars Season 7, the 2003 Clone Wars, and some of Rebels. I thought Season 7 of Clone Wars was pretty good, but it's hard to ignore the fact that Disney really screwed the writers over when they canceled the show in the first place, so they had to do Ventress and Talzin's deaths through comics. It feels like we've been robbed of a complete story here. As for 2003 Clone Wars, Grievous was amazing, Dirge was kind of horrifying, and the Battle of Coruscant was cool, but the problem is that it focused too much on action and not enough on story, in my opinion, so that's like something that the 2008 series did better, in my opinion. With Rebels, I've had mixed thoughts throughout, but I think it had a good ending. And then Infinitus Prime asks, what did you think of the Mandalorian Star Wars show? I haven't seen it. Star Superion 101 asks, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? So, it's close between Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back, but I have to choose Revenge of the Sith. Star Superion 101 asks, who is your favorite Jedi, Sith Lord, clone, bounty hunter, and some other Star Wars characters and villains? So my favorite Star Wars characters are Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, C-3PO, Mara Jade, Dengar, Cad Bane, Fives, Jaina Solo, and Darth Zana. Regular J Studios asks, what are your thoughts on the current state of animation? Personally, I miss traditional hand-drawn animation. I miss hand-drawn as well, but I still appreciate computer animation. My only issue is with the animation that stuff like Arcane, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and the Spider-Verse uses. I know it's very popular, but my brain just goes nuts looking at it. Richard Drummond asks, when is your birthday and how old are you? Personal question. November 6th. I am currently 27 years old, and I hate admitting that out loud. God, how did I get here? John Jefferson01 asks, where do you live and are you American? Personal questions. I'm Canadian. I live in Ontario. Damien Dingwall951 asks, where do you live? Personal question. A lot of people asking personal questions. I live in Canada. Santa Claus 280 asks, you mentioned you like Disney cartoons quite a bit, so how would you personally rank all the shows that were spun off from an animated Disney movie, assuming you've seen them all? Yeah, I've seen all of them except for 101 Dalmatians. I've seen Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Tangled, Hercules, Lilo and Stitch, and Legend of Tarzan. I'd say that from strongest to weakest, they go first Tangled, by far the best. Legend of Tarzan had some really cool villains. Aladdin, mainly for Sadira, she was a great character. Little Mermaid, just because I really like Ariel. Hercules, it's super funny, but that was pretty much it. It didn't really have the epic plots and character work of the first three shows, and didn't have the favoritism of Little Mermaid. And lastly, Lilo and Stitch. I rewatched the show this year, actually, and it's not as good as I remember it being. It got so repetitive. If it was only because of Gantu and Nani that I was able to get through it, because they're my favorite characters, so they helped me, but yeah, it wasn't the same. Regular J Studios asks, what are your top 5 favorite horror movies? Okay, so I had to think about this. It Follows, Anna and the Apocalypse, the Fear Street trilogy, I am counting that as one. It, the 2017 movie, and Insidious. And honorable mentions, they include The Shining, Nosferatu, Gerald's Game, Scream, Scream 5, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Then Santa Claus 280 also asks, have you seen MLP? And if so, did you like it? So, I have an interesting history with My Little Pony. When I was in high school, there were some people my age who put some, shall we say, gross stuff relating to it on the school's local drive. That kind of turned me away from the show for years, and I didn't want anything to do with it, which wasn't fair. So, over time, I became more open-minded about it and was able to separate the show from some of its fans. Then I began to have my own subscribers tell me to check it out, so I added it to my list. And I actually watched it late last year and early this year. The entirety of Friendship is Magic and all the Equestria Girls stuff. And you know what? It's really good. I'm sorry. It's really good. It's really funny. It's got likable characters. The animation is fun. The music is great. The villains are cool. It's got a surprising amount of world building. So, yeah, I like My Little Pony, I guess. Brick Asylum Studios asks, thoughts on the Lego Batman the Animated Series Gotham City Skyline set? I think it's super cool. Regular J Studios, for our final question, asks me the most important question of all. Does pineapple belong on pizza? And I will say, if you want it there, then okay. But it's not for me. So, with that, that's it. Thanks for all the questions. That was a lot. I feel like I don't know if it was more than last time or not, but it sometimes feels like it's getting like there's more questions every year, which is cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around and being patient with me as I tried to get Teen Titans Season 5 out. And thanks also to those who have been waiting very patiently for Adventurers and Pirates. I guess I'll probably check back in around the time that I'm able to actually release something, be it Wonder Woman or Adventurers, whichever is ready first. Until then, you all stay safe, take care, and all the other good things, and just have a good day. Bye.